What's going on, everybody? Fox Sound Finance back again with another AMC update. Please remember that I am not a financial advisor. Nothing in my videos is financial advice. All right, we're going to jump right into the fire, guys, starting off with the box office numbers so far. From what I just read, we are sitting at $2.82 billion for Q2 2026. I'm recording this at 2:27 p.m. on a Sunday. So when those numbers come in from over the weekend, we'll see where we land with just a couple days left of Q2. Adam Aaron also projecting $2.9 to $3 billion. So pretty on the money with that projection last video that I put out there. So fundamentally speaking, that is looking very good. And if we do hit that $2.93 billion target, it's going to be very, very good for the August earnings report. All right, which I do think will be positive at this point. That's just my opinion. So really good in the fundamental world. What has not been really good from what I could see is people's management of their emotions. So obviously we had the $95 million share offering. It was like $200 million raised, I think. And they did this so that, one, we could bolster the cash reserves, and two, to pay off the 2027 notes that were due, right? So after that, it was like absolute pandemonium. People were losing their shit left and right. It was all over. There was doom and gloom, spread everywhere about AMC. And it's just crazy because people fall victim to this same kind of patterns over and over and over again. And someone who's been in this 5 years, I'm just looking at this going like, people have learned nothing in the last 5 years. If you've been in this as long as I have and the people that I know, then there should really not be that kind of reaction, right? Especially given the price action off of the 93 cents here, right? It's just not going to be easier for you going forward. Like when you start getting to these higher numbers and then you're seeing 50% drops, guys, I mean, how are you going to manage that? That's the thing. Like we're talking about being in the $2 range and people are shitting their pants, right? Over the price drop. So I don't know. To each their own. That's my opinion. I mean, it was absolutely sad to see, especially in my comment section. I had people in there very negative. Oh, we got fucked this way, that way. I'm like, guys, this is all part of the plan. This is all part of everything being mapped out. These things are already segmented into this, right? From what my belief is on the way this entire market moves, right? And I'm not the only one with that philosophy. But I'm telling you right now, I show you the indicators. If you're watching the videos thoroughly, you should know this. You should understand where we are sitting right now. And there should not really be panicking. But again, those are your emotions, not mine, right? You live your life the way you want to live it. So with that being said, I'm going to reiterate what I did last video so that you guys hopefully get the picture. All right. Going to the pivot points on my indicators. As I load these up, what did we say last couple of videos, guys? That, especially regarding the pivot points, what I've taught you so far is that every month, new pivot points are going to generate. Here's May, here's June. We will get a new set in July. Okay. What did I say last video? We already blew through R1, resistance target 1 at $1.93. We blew right through it. Resistance target 2, 214 rounded up, blew right through it. Resistance target 3 of the month, we blew right through that at 250-ish, and then continue to ascend, right? You rip through all of the resistances, at least from the monthly standpoint and the pivot points here for June. And what was the expectation for people? That we were going to continue just melting up? It's not that it's impossible, but like from what I could see and the trajectory that's in front of me, it really didn't make sense. And why I said that, and we'll touch on the volume profile later instead of volume, right? We're upgrading. I'm getting recalibrated here. All right. If I'm making a change, you guys better, switch up with your emotions and get them in check. All right. I think that's fair. So for our volume bar here, that was a very large resistance, very large attraction for price, very large resistance for price, right? You got drawn up to it. And like I said, you went through R3, surpassed R3, and then you ran into this guy at 277. Even went past that a little bit. I did see that we hit like 304, I think, in pre-market. in the extended hours trading. So even then, guys, you rip through the most massive resistance on the volume profile fixed range and then fell under and rejected, which I told you was coming. I told you that was coming. And there's 3 reasons, these being 2, and the next and last reason being the RSI. RSI was overbought. It was overbought since 615. So you were on fire for this whole week straight. And then I said, well, the way this is looking, you see your RSI overbought, you see your pivot points blasted through the third resistance target, and then also on the volume profile, you blew through that, and then we're fighting that. And that was going to be one of those things where I said, I want to see how price responds. Either it's going to print candles above it, and then you'll continue to gap up, or it's going to float around here in this range, and then it's going to drop. And obviously, that is what happened. So between your pivot points, the RSI being overbought, and that massive volume bar here, it was apparent to me that this was going to fall back. Very strong chance it was going to fall back, right? Unless something catastrophic in the market happened that benefited the small cap basket, there was really no reason for the price action to continue upward, in my opinion. All right. So that is where we're at. Massive gap down. And again, too, you throw in the news with it, right? The dilution of the 95 million share offering, right? That's 4. So everything just made sense. And even before the news came out, I was already telling you where this price was sitting and what it was about to run into, right? It was running right into a fucking freight train. There's no way you can expect the price to continue blasting through this unless, like I said, something major happened, which did not. So what happened then? Just like here with this first wave from the 93-cent low, we came all the way up, nearly a 100% move off of the rebound and breaking that 556 resistance. You came up and then you cooled down, right? For multiple weeks. And it was the same reaction. Oh my God, it's all over. Fuck out of here, blah, blah, blah. It was the same exact complaints, guys. It was the same thing. And then what happened? We bounced back above my resistance, rode it for about 4 or 5 trading days, and then continued ascending upward, right? And I showed you guys this right here, this rough mapping out of how this stock is probably going to move based on the previous resistances and supports and your volume, okay? So your volume bars here were all kind of showing you what levels you needed to break and where you needed to ascend past if you're going to take the next level down. Had it all mapped out in front of you. And that's exactly what I try to do, is show you the slowest progression possible. I'm still not like 100% sold like it's going to do this all the way, because again, there's going to be outside factors that could cause us to deviate to go even faster to the upside. But at the same time, I said, let me just draw something out very slow, just so that people can have a little more patient approach. And then, the 2021 style thing is just kind of looming in the background. That's just going to be like that surprise, hit out of nowhere, right? And there was really no reason for me to see any of that, right? That kind of move happening yet. There's no reason, because you got multiple resistances still left from a volume standpoint and your 1390 resistance line. We have not even gotten up to this yet. Like when we get up to here and we're pressing the roof of this thing, that's a different story. But I did not see that yet. So I'm telling you, to just rip straight up like that, it would have took something crazy. So trajectory, we're still kind of riding in the same fashion. It's not a one-to-one fit. Like I said, I'm not Nostradamus. It's not an exact match mirroring it. But still, the slower progression is in the lead right now in terms of the movement. And with the last trading day, right here, perfect example. We came down to my support, wicked through it, and then bounced hard back above it. You went all the way down to $1.71, and then you finished right around, 215, 216, with a high on this candle up to 221. So, I don't know. That doesn't tell you that this thing is still trying to progress upward and that it's not all over, quote unquote, from what people have been saying. Then I don't know what to tell you, right? Like, this is apparent to me that we're still, trending in this direction. Now, inversely to that, right? Outside of the slow pace, outside of the Super Bowl case, like 2021 style, if we are to, for some reason, like pull a head and shoulders move like this, like let's say this is shoulder one, this is the head, and then you get another shoulder to form over here, and then you fall down, well, then you'd be looking at a double bottom at 93 cents. All right. Now, what's difficult for me to see that being the case is that you're going to be landing probably somewhere around your earnings in August if you're going to repeat that shoulder down. And I just don't see why that would make sense unless there's something, like I said, catastrophic happening in the markets. But really, guys, fundamentally speaking, AMC is doing very good. So it would make no sense for this to come down to 93 cents. But just be aware that it could be on the table, right? It could be on the table. Whenever I see a pattern, guys, it sticks out to me like that. Like I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, you could get a head and shoulders. And the only way that we will know that it's not happening is if that price action starts to go above this head, right? We start to see price action move up this way, like my trajectory is, then that would be invalid, I think. But right now, you could get that head and shoulders, which wouldn't obviously be what we want to see. But again, just throwing it out there as a super bear case, super bull case, super bear case, and then in the middle. That's how I do things. So, like I said, pivot point wise, you know, everything that I just showed you made sense to me. Looking at the, not the fundamentals, we already covered that. Looking at the EMAs, the bands here, I also said this, that I wanted to see the 200 EMA be a support. Obviously, that has not transpired in entirety yet, but I'm okay with what I saw, which was the price bouncing off some kind of EMA. And the fact that they're clustered this closely, it doesn't really matter because the freaking 200 is sitting at $1.98 and the 100 EMA is sitting at $1.74, $1.75. And we bounced off the 100. So price rebound very hard off the 100. And now you are being sliced in half by the 200 EMA as well as the 27 EMA and the 48 EMA down here. And they're all kind of just going sideways right now. So we don't have the full candle print above the 200, but we still closed above the 200 in price. So really, really good. Still very bullish. I have not seen these all start curling down below my support line, which obviously would indicate to me if we have a full breakdown, then yeah, that kind of move, head and shoulders like, could be on the table. But right now, we haven't even seen that yet. And price is still looking very, very good. The only thing that really curled down was your 9-day EMA, which made sense from that gap down, right? That's your shortest term EMA. So EMA wise, looking very, very good. I don't want to spend a bajillion hours talking about that. Looking at your MACD, the only curl down that we had for the MACD was on the daily, right? We have not gotten the curl down even on the weekly yet. So even weekly MACD is still very bullish. All right. Monthly has not crossed down, and your quarterly is not going to be in until September. I think the quarterly update, if I can pull that up real quick, I think the quarterly update is probably, the candle is not coming in until 9/26, I believe. I think that's what we're looking at. So we won't know that, guys, until the end of September anyway, which I do believe will flip bullish. So end of September, this thing to me is going to flip bullish. And what do you think is going to happen when your MACD flips bullish on the quarterly? It just doesn't make sense for it to have price, go further down. Doesn't make sense to me. So that is looking very, very good. MACD, your EMAs, your pivot points, everything's making sense so far. Lastly, as I said, with the volume profile, what are we expecting now? All right, and I'll leave it here, is this. So we rebounded and got rejected here, right? Rejected first, and we're starting to rebound. We came down, hit the support. Now what I anticipate is that we are either going to kind of ride the support a little bit here and then start to work our way up. And when we come back up to this level, same thing applies. If you get candles that go underneath it and struggle to break past, price goes down. If the candles start printing above this level and you get a couple with strength and good volume, then you are going to go up just like that. It's that simple. And if we go up, then where do we go? What did I say? Right through this entire range, just like that. Where will that price be? Potentially for the next resistance in this range right here, just like that. So you are looking at $4.62 up to potentially $5.17 right up here. These two volume nodes. All right. So when we get up there, what would I expect? Same thing that just happened down here. The same exact thing that I just explained here. You just keep repeating the process until you get enough strength through these nodes, right? Price either goes up or down. It's that simple. There's not really much more to explain with that, guys. So that is what I'm expecting going forward for AMC. This week, you could get that, like I said, that really flat, steady kind of week. Then maybe you kind of work your way up on the trend line, kind of like how you did right here, right? Could get the same exact look. So that's what I'm seeing, guys, an overall movement, box office numbers wise. And I do think that it's a good thing that the debt is continuing to be handled, because that's the main narrative that the bears have been using, is that the debt, right? So when we are doing things to pay that off, right, and we're doing things to kind of mitigate that being used as a narrative, and we're showing that that's under control, then there's really nothing else, because the box office is rebounding now. So production wise, you're hitting numbers that you need to earn positive earnings. And then doing so, you're going to be able to make your debt payments, right? So it's pain now, a little pain now for gain later. That is how I'm seeing this whole thing. All right. Lastly, I guess outside the volume profile and that spiel is the same thing. When we get past this last bit of resistance, guys, you're more than likely going to shoot up through this range here, right? As you work up into this $4 to $5 range, you're going to be pressing right above that, underneath that 1390 resistance line. And when we break this, that's when things are really going to start to swing up and down, because there's really no resistance up here, which is a great thing. But with those giant leaps, I mean, price is going to pull back to some previous support level in here. All right. But right after this, you're looking at $13.70 when you break this line here. And that could happen even as little as $4.15 if it really gets stretched out to the apex. So just like I said, keep the emotions in check, because it's just going to get more crazy from here. That's my opinion. All right. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe. Like I said, you have comments, drop them below. I'm not going to respond to the negativity, though. There's no reason for me to. I'm not going to, try to pat people on the back that are irrational when there's nothing to even be fearing at this point. Especially if you guys have been surviving this freaking drop like I have, there's no reason for it. So I'm not going to jump on the boohoo bandwagon with you guys. You're going to have to learn to figure that out yourself, right? Learn a thing or two. So that's all I got for today's video. I'll keep you guys up to date if anything significant changes, but so far, looking at the chart, it is in line with what I was expecting. So you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. I will see you in the next video. Take care.